Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Critical Reactions with your host, Bryan. We're going to wrap up today with a special selection, which is where one of you tell me exactly what it is I need to check out. Today's special selection comes at us from Alexi, Schizoid Lloyd, Suicide Penguin. That is quite a collection of words there. Let's just dive into this, I suppose, and see where Schizoid Lloyd is taking us today. This is absolutely bonkers. It's like Cardiacs and Queen smashed together. Snare, guitar, two bells, choir and organ. The instrumental collections are wild. He's got a pretty good fry screen there. I like how the bass fills in after the guitar line. course, because why not? Let's change tempo and time signature and feel all together. Some spooky carnival vibes on that organ. What did I just listen to? I say that in like the most endearing way because I'm gonna have to listen to this whole album, I think. But it filled me with a bit of that same sort of wonder that listening to the opening track of Native Construct's album or the first time I heard Unexpect. It's like that kind of feeling where you've finally found something that bucks all convention, so you really can't expect anything. I mean, and part of that is my process of understanding music, right? When you guys give me something, I generally understand how rock and metal and just a lot of modern mainstream music, and that includes metal, not just mainstream metal, but metal in general, how a lot of modern music is made. A lot of the tropes of each of the main genres and how they work to create a sort of blueprint or template. Even within the prog area of music, there's still a lot of following along of ideas. And being able to anticipate where something goes and then for the band to go where I anticipate them to is generally how I understand music so quickly because I already know what they're going to do and they generally do something along those lines. Sometimes bands can surprise me in specific areas, maybe a transition was a little unexpected, but the general idea fit what I was thinking the band was going to do. And so I can kind of have these preconceived notions about what types of transitions or musical combinations and what they mean. And I already have like this large dictionary, basically, of music as a language. And you might give me a different dialect, or I gotta, make a couple of informed decisions. But for the most part, they play music, and I understand it. This is not that. This sits in that avant-garde experimental area, but just enough so that it feels eclectic, where nothing I expect goes any way I expect it to, but not so far into the realm that it is, for lack of better word, weird music. We've listened to some avant-garde jazz that just, it almost sounds like noise. It's so far away from convention that it might as well be a different language entirely. This sits somewhere between those two extremes. And so I have no idea what's going around any corner, but I still think it's palatable enough for me to enjoy. And this type of music really works for me because it feels fresh. But it's not like I have to learn an entire new language to get it. And I love that. What is this song doing though? I'm not sure I'm going to be able to explain this. It kicks off with a lot of really large, bombastic ideas. The drums, the guitars, the bass, the organs, piano, whatever instrument's playing, because it seems like every bar we're changing the composition of timbres. So, one bar might be a choir, and the next one might be an organ and a vocalist, and the next bar might be a guitar, and the next one might be bass and drums. So it's like, it's constantly changing. But what we have primarily here is a bunch of instruments smashed together, doing a bunch of wild ideas that are incorporating at least what to me sound like the off the wall antics and wild harmonic patterns that can be found in Cardiacs and a lot of bands that have been influenced by Cardiacs, with the wide choral, I don't know why I couldn't think of that word, choral harmonies with a very hymnic structure to it that can be found in Queen. And of course, Queen got it from, gospel and a bunch of stuff like that. But that's pretty much my understanding of the first 45 seconds is, what if Queen and Cardiacs made something together? It has the off the wall antics, the wild jumps, the weird leaps, the odd harmonies mixed with this very beautiful, strong vocal harmony stacks. And it's tough to follow along with any of that. You never really know when we're switching back and forth. But beyond that, as I mentioned, the sonic palette is constantly changing too. So the entire opening was like going down a dark enclosed slide. You know where we're going, down. Gravity's taking care of that. Every once in a while there will be a window for light to come in, and you can see a little bit of where you're at and kind of get a feel for what the slide's interior looks like. But 75% of this ride, you're just there letting gravity work its thing. And that's all I sat through at the beginning, was just allowing the sound to strike me, to wash over me, to envelop me. And there's no room for understanding any of it. This is not one of those songs I'm going to walk away from and have these ideas about what the musical themes are. Then we hit the lyrics. I'm like, oh, snap. They're singing about the same things I heard in the music. No, that ain't going to happen here today. I don't get this. And that's part of the fun. Now, after this opening, though, things try to find different ways to click into place. The rest of the track is just as chaotic in its structure and sonic palette, but they find ways to stick in ideas a little bit longer so you can kind of get a taste for what's going on. And I think this is where the song really develops an interesting personality, because I kind of had them pegged here at the beginning. Oh, yeah, they're wacky, they're crazy, but they're, really good at making these strong harmonies. And we're going to have this light, fun, crazy prog rock thing going on. And I think it was right after I came to this conclusion, we hit this prog metal sound. This really meaty guitar tone comes in. We got some crazy guitar work. A rhythmic groove comes in underneath it, very common for modern progressive metal, to kind of focus on texture and rhythm over strong senses of harmony. And that's exactly what we get here. Very Dream Theater-esque writing style. We have this really cool guitar lick that comes in. They play their thing, and then the bass, while the guitar holds that final note, plays their little lick, and we kind of have this back and forth of 2 bars each. Very cool idea there. The drummer is just bonkers. Can't even describe what's going on there. We have a couple more clean vocals come in, and then something happens. I don't remember what goes on because I was so blown away that the vocalist lets loose this fry scream. Very post-hardcore or emo style of harsh vocal. Not metal at all. And like I said, there's a lot going on. I remember there being bells. Glockenspiel, maybe. I don't think we have any like vertical bells. Just striking mallets, or striking metal with mallets. That's what was going on. alongside this metal stuff and this atmospheric textural based writing. And yeah, that was kind of wild. So that threw a little hiccup in my understanding of them. And from there we just kind of stuck with jumping around between these four forms. The very hymnic large vocal harmonies, which sound fantastic. The progressive rock with a smirk kind of cardiac style of just, do whatever you want as long as it's with, guitar and bass and drums and some piano. Play a wacky melody or get into some weird harmonies. Dance with dissonance and chromatic writing and weird open tone. Not open tone, whole tone chords. And it's just like, okay, that's weird to pair with the wide harmonies, but then we also have a very metallic side to all of this. There's a couple of places in here that's just straightforward guitar riffage with a metal guitar tone. And those are usually paired with a meaty bass guitar that plays alongside it with its own interesting rhythm. The bass never really just sits at the bottom and plays pedal tone or anything like that. And all of this seems to get paired with more of a post-hardcore focus on atmosphere and uh, higher pitched vocals and harsh vocals. And it's this weird coming together of rock, punk, metal, and whatever you want to call those wide vocal harmonies. Gospel, hymnic, Queen style, whatever. It's a really bizarre collage of sound. And none of it really makes any sense to me. And it was about this time that I just started to accept what was going on and stop trying to turn it into a puzzle. And the last half of this track I thought was a wild ride. Again, I have no idea what's coming around any corner. They're completely subverting every expectation I have, and there's no general ideas of growth and decay either. We don't have slow burns or diminishing moments. We don't have accelerandos uh, or decrescendos or anything gradual like that. Everything is instant. At one point, we just shifted to like this faster 3/4. It felt syncopated because of where we came from with the focus on the backbeat. And then we just have this 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, just comes out of nowhere. The cymbals are really leaning into this. It hasn't really been a cymbal heavy song to this point. And they just completely changed the flow, the time feel, the tempo, the time signature, and even the atmosphere of the song on a whim. It's I mean, you listen to it. It's wild. There's bands that I've used the term controlled chaos for, and I think this is one that gets thrown into that pile. But it almost feels like it's veering on being uncontrolled. It's really sits on that sonic collage idea. A collage in visual art is usually a mixture of mediums. So maybe there'll be like a hand painted thing, and something over here will be like a piece of clay stuck to the canvas, and then you might have like a magazine cut out over here. And it's just a lot of different visual ideas smashed together into something that is usually very loud. And I mean, actually, now that I'm looking at this, look at this album art. That's very collagey. A lot of different pieces with different artistic styles, differing levels of realism, different different color palettes. Some are warmer, some are colder. We have some black and white in there. It's just a bunch of very contrasting ideas just pasted on top and around one another. And that's exactly what the song feels like too. It's a bunch of ideas and influences, probably, but not trying to make them work well together, just kind of smashing them up against each other and saying, this is now art. And that kind of comes off a bit snarky, but I mean, that's what collage is. It's kind of about rejecting the idea of a uniform visual palette, and in this case, a sonic palette, and saying, I'm just going to put a bunch of stuff together, and that's going to represent whatever it is I want to represent. And this song ends up feeling very chaotic because of that, and I'm sure that they're wanting to represent a type of chaos, or confusion, or lost in a maze, or whatever. Because that's exactly my experience listening to this. I wish I could give more of an analysis here, but I think I'm going to dive into the lyrics. Maybe that'll open up more discussion. Probably not. I'm expecting lyrics just as bonkers as the song. Um, eh, After that, we'll wrap the video up, I suppose. You've seriously got to read the lyrics for this. I couldn't find it on Genius, but I did find it on a website called Letras, Letras.com. This is word salad. Well, no, that's not fair. I think some of these ideas do mean something. It's not just random words, but it is stream of consciousness, where not everything is as coherent or concise as it could be, and there's a lot of superfluous ideas spread apart between, I think, the more defining, meaningful lines. But there's also a line that says that there's music for the clowns, and I completely forgot about all the dark carnival organy stuff that shows up all throughout this song. Jeez, what is this track? I think the first couple of stanzas, it's a good thesis statement for the track. Not that it explains to you what the song's about, but it lets you know what the song's about. It says, hunger for knowledge. My life had just begun, but I discovered I was born to be reincarnated into dying echoes of the last note in God's magnus opus. Music for the clowns. Hunger to separate me from the beasts. Devoured dinner I consumed to be evaporated into dying echoes of the last note in God's magnum opus. What? We have a little bit of repetition in here. Purgatorial cleansing of false habits. Run me away, sever the brain for love. I will enslave you with these chains of freedom. Lots of contradictory ideas in here, probably for great effect. I feel like this idea of setting up one thing and then subverting it immediately. There's one line in here. It says, I said goodbye to everyone but you, but I say hello, my love, to this unreasonable war. I wonder what this means past the chaos of the words, and I wouldn't even say that it's metaphor. I think that it's just maybe having an overarching idea that might unlock what all this means. I do like how in the randomly in the middle of the song it just says, Gloria, hallelujah, baby, I love you, so don't leave me. Don't you dare leave me. Don't you ever leave me. It just repeats this over and over. It gets really dark. I kind of wonder if this is where we began to escalate into the fry screams. But then from this, he says, don't you leave me, because how am I supposed to dance to the shattered illusions? I'm a circumstantial being. These shackles kneel me to the sun. From the sun, though, we work into the phrase, rise. I think that's really interesting. It says, rise, baby, rise, and give me the light. Burn me alive. And again, contradiction. It feels like we're going towards something uplifting, and then we turn it because we have taken this idea, this metaphor, that this person is my son. I'm shackled to the sun, but also this person is my light, and also they burn me alive. And I think there's a genius underneath all of this. I just wish I could get to that level. But I do find this sort of hilarious at the end. The final stanza. You're not ready for this line, I guarantee it. It says, I need wings to fly, my suicide penguin. The devil smiles while saving my ass. He says, follow the sun, Gangnam style. I said goodbye to everyone but you. Literally said raise the child Gangnam Style, and that just cracks me up. It's so random. It's the only, I think, pop culture illusion in here. Yeah, I don't see any other. It just kind of comes out of nowhere and slaps you in the face, and it is. I don't know, man. When did this come out? 2014. Feels like yesterday, but I mean, that was a decade ago. Why is time? This album's 57 minutes long, over 10 tracks. That's not too bad. I feel like I have to listen to this now. How many other albums? They have 3 albums? Oh no, they have an EP, a single, and then this soul album. I don't know, man. This is just. The thing is, too, 400 monthly listeners. If you enjoyed this, go show them some love. It has all the technical prowess of a band like Dream Theater or Queen or Rush, but it has all the fun elements of like System of a Down or Unexpect, and like they don't take themselves too seriously, but they are seriously skilled. And I'm kind of sold on it. I don't think it's something I'd come back to often. It is quite a bit much, but it's really difficult to ignore something like this that breaks convention so much while still being semi-palatable in a way. I don't know. These are my thoughts on Schizoid Lloyd's Suicide Penguin. What does that even mean? Let me know what you thought of this track. If there's anything that stood out to you, anything that you would like to add on to what I said or correct me on, I don't know, maybe you just want to give your thoughts, opinions, your interpretation. You want to take a crack at these lyrics? You want to take a crack at the music? Let me know what you heard in any of this. It's a lot of noise to me, but it feels like it's not just random, and I think that's what's drawing me to it. I'd love to get some more insight, though. Let me know. Put all that down in the comments section. Above that, in the description box, you'll find a link to Linktree. Takes you here. You can find links to my music, ways to support the channel, a link to the Discord server, and so much more. Above that, if you could, like, subscribe, and ring the bell. I greatly appreciate all 3 of those. All right, that wraps it up for today. I'll be back tomorrow, though, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 10 p.m. UTC as usual. Until next time, remember to be critical, not cynical, of the music you listen to, and have a fantastic morning, afternoon, or evening, whenever you choose to watch my videos.